Like we just don't have to go to school, get that corporate job, work that 40-hour week, do that for 40 years, retire, be old. Like there's another way that you can control your own destiny. I'm not, distributors, you're not investing in creating the whole company. We get to just partner with an amazing company, with an amazing product line, with people that we just believe in, and we get to just cruise right along with them. Like the distributors in the field, we have it the easiest.
Today, I'm talking to Steve Wiltshire and Michelle Jones. Steve has been an entrepreneur since he was 17 years old. He's held over 5,000 events, promoted more than 400 leaders, and built a $19 million a year organization in MLM. He's a success trainer, author, and coach specializing in multi-level marketing and direct sales. Steve is the founder of Lifeline Coaching and Education, and is best known for his $1 million protege leadership program that has impacted the lives of thousands of leaders around the globe. Michelle Jones discovered MLM 2 decades ago after experiencing corporate burnout. She jumped in and in a very short time replaced her 6-figure income working from home. Michelle went on to build a multi-million-dollar business helping people create their ideal life and career. Through her journey, Michelle has helped develop a very successful business model that results in retention, longevity, and countless promotions for her team. She now coaches, trains, and mentors multi-level marketers, showing them that there's a better way. So guys, before we get going, I'd like to get the contact details out of the way. I hate having to listen through an entire podcast to find out how to contact people. So you will find these contact details in the links below. But please, could you give us your contact details so everybody can take them down and get in touch with you?
Beautiful. Well, first of all, our support team, support at lifelinecoaches.com. Support at lifelinecoaches.com, COACHES.com, or call our number 360-828-8415.
Okay, fantastic.
And our site, lifelinecoaches.com. Just go to our site, lifelinecoaches.com. We have a free gift for you. It's an incredible program on social media. Michelle will tell you about that and give you the URL.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
It's yoursocialmediablueprint.com, yoursocialmediablueprint.com.
A whole program
Excellent.
on how to build your business, a thriving team on social media. Yeah, we'll tell you more about that later.
Okay, so everybody needs to stick with us now. Don't go dashing off there. Stick with us
quite
here.
a program.
Yeah. So guys, what I'd like to start with, you guys have been on an epic journey. Can you tell us a bit about how you got there, how you got started, how this whole journey came about? Maybe Steve, can we start with you possibly?
A whole hour, right? Well, I started the industry at 17 years old. I was more of an introvert, and a friend of mine was crushing it in my senior year in high school. And here I had gone through several jobs. My mother said I would never be able to hold a job. And so I jumped into the industry, and I can tell you the first 6 months, I really struggled, but I happened to have been fortunate enough to have been sponsored by a top leader that had this amazing organization, and she was absolutely super incredible. And I remember telling her about 5 months into the business that I had ran out of leads. And she said, honey, I have invited you to shadow so many events. What has kept you from doing this? And I remember the light bulb went on for me. I thought about everything my mother had taught me around consistency, how I got successful in sports, how I got successful at many things in my life, that it was this process. And so I made this decision to go on 8 events with Suzanne Baker in 2 weeks. And all of a sudden my thinking changed, and I started realizing my confidence increased, and I was attracting people everywhere I went, and it just clicked. And so my personal business started to increase. And at that time, it was summer of going back 1982. And I was starting college full time. I was working 35 hours a week in a restaurant. And all of a sudden, I'm blowing up my personal business. And I got to the end of the year, and I remember feeling this confidence that I had never felt before. And this is what I love about the industry, because Suzanne knew me a month, and she said, I want to invite you to go to a seminar with Zig Ziglar. And I'm like, what does that mean, Zig Ziglar? And she laughed and she said, well, he's a motivational speaker. And I go, what's a motivational speaker? I don't even know what that meant, and so I was around all of these people that were all about self-development, which is really what this industry is, right? We make money while we're developing ourselves and becoming more successful through self-development.
Isn't that the truth, eh? Isn't that the
So
truth?
I ended up within a couple of years becoming a top recruiter and a top personal sales producer, and growing a thriving organization by the time I was 21. And for everybody listening, I mean, our business really comes down to three categories: philosophy, approach, and systems. And so philosophy is like your beliefs. And when you elevate your belief, you start attracting things into your area. Things start to change for you. And then, of course, systems of language. When we learn systems, we duplicate the language, things start to change. But mostly how we learn to approach people, how we learn to look at life through the lens of the other person. And that's a spillover into your personal life. Your marriage improves, your relationships improve, especially with children. And so I have a question for all of you that are listening, whether you're a business owner or perhaps you're a direct seller or in network marketing. Are you practicing your craft? We live in a time where we have so much content and so much coming at us. And so we wing it. And this is where I see problems. I've held 2,200 seminars. I have conversations with the audience, and I can tell you that so many people are not practicing their craft. It's kind of like being in a play and having a role in a play, right? You practice your craft and then you let it go and you step in the moment and you get into that authentic way of being. I hired my first coach in 1998. And I remember after about 6 months, I wanted those skills. I realized I was a leader that told people what to do. And then I started going to coaching classes, and I didn't want to become a coach. It really wasn't something I was interested in. And it just kept going and going and going. And then one day I thought, I want to write a book. I want to become a coach. I want to become a success trainer. And I want to specialize in this industry of MLM and network marketing and direct sales. And after about 2.5 years, I left a $19 million a year organization to pursue my passion. Like you, Richard, it's so much like you, like your last 22 years of really wanting to help companies and new businesses that want to start a direct sales network marketing division. And I got to tell you, everyone that's listening, we had the most incredible conversation with Richard, Michelle, and I for almost an hour before we started this recording. And this man has such a passion and purpose for our industry, from the top to companies guiding their direct sales, network marketing, consultants, representatives, to everything in the back end to make it work, to help the people. I love what you're about, brother.
Oh, thank you very much. You get to stay another week.
No, you're humble. You are humble, and you are the real thing. I am so excited to lead people to you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. And Michelle, I mean, can you just give us some of your background? I'm super keen to hear where how you got into this, how your journey has been. I mean, that's exciting. Go for it.
Steve, I love listening to your story. I mean, you're my business partner, you're like a brother, and I always think I know everything, and then I'm just surprised by, just all the greatness you've done. So thank you for sharing. My beginning is completely opposite of Steve's. I went down the traditional route in life where I got that college degree. I was actually the first person in my family to go to college. And
Oh, well
what
done.
was drilled in my head, thank you, is to go to school, right? Get a college degree, get a corporate job and live the dream. I happen to be in America, so live the American dream. And I did that. I followed those steps and I did that. And I got a corporate job and I found myself in my mid 30s, twice Steve's age. You were 17, I was 34 when the industry was introduced to me almost 2 decades ago. But in my mid 30s, I found myself thinking, is this it? Is this going to be the rest of my life, working these 40, 50 hours a week, building other people's dreams, working in corporate America? And I was really, I was not happy and I was unsettled. I didn't know anything about direct sales or network marketing at all. I actually, and this is so bad when I say it, but I actually thought it was like a bunch of bored housewives just playing around. I remember I had like a faraway uncle that had earned a free car, but none of us knew what he did. So at this time in my life, when I was like, I can't do this another 3 or 4 decades, work in this corporate space, someone invited me to something. I'm so excited to be on this podcast right now and be sharing with owners and CEOs and presidents, and just always remember this. It's the invite. This is what we have to teach our companies, our organizations. Somebody invited me to something. Now, back then, it happened to be a face-to-face in a living room. This is, before social media. But that one invitation from somebody who was trained on how to invite literally changed the course of my life. Did it change it instantly? No, but I went to an event, I was invited somewhere else, I saw the bigger picture, and in a very short time, I was able to replace a corporate income and no longer work those crazy hours. I was setting my own schedule, I was making that same amazing income, but on my own time. And the interesting thing that happened then is a lot of people started reaching out from other companies. And I remember being, really mad and thinking, where were you before? Why did no one share with me before? When I worked in corporate America, I worked in retail malls, and I know that millions of people had to walk by me in retail malls when I was working, and no one ever invited me before. And then through working with great people and coaches like Steve and other people, it hit me. To the outside world, I looked happy. Nobody looked at me and said, oh, she has this big corporate job. Oh, she's unhappy. I drove a nice car. I lived in a nice neighborhood. Nobody knew I was unhappy. And it's such an important point here, because there are people around all of us that secretly have hopes and dreams, but their outside shell, they're just going through the steps of life. I look at our industry as a gift. I am so happy to be connected to you, Richard, and hear your goals and dreams. Like, I have to pay this gift forward. This is 100% why I do this, is just to give every person on the planet the option to hear what we do and make a decision. Because when I was 17, if someone would have shared this with me, I would have been like Steve and jumped in. I wouldn't have waited until I was 34.
Can I ask you something, Michelle? Somebody came to you and offered you the opportunity. They shared the opportunity with you, and it obviously changed your life. The question I want to ask you is, how many lives were touched by you because of that invitation? How many other people's lives have been changed because somebody invited you? Because it goes so far beyond you, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And you asking that question, like goosebumps just, came all over my body.
Yeah, it's exactly how I'm feeling as well. Yeah.
You stop and think about it, and you think of your organizations or your downlines and companies, but it's bigger than that. When you're speaking on the stage of your annual conferences, it's thousands and like hundreds of thousands of people, I truly believe, have heard my message over the last 2 decades.
So because somebody took the time to share this opportunity with you, hundreds of thousands of people's lives have been changed and touched. How incredible is that?
Absolutely. And to add to that, it wasn't even someone I knew firsthand. It was like second level. It was, hey, don't you have a friend, Michelle? We need one more person. Like, that's even more impressive. I didn't know the person. I was like secondhand in this situation.
And I can tell you something. There's a whole bunch of people who are kicking themselves that they didn't ask you.
Uh, and those are the people that came out of the woodwork. And like I said, I was a little mad and sad and saying, well, why didn't you invite me before? And then it just hit me because I didn't appear to be unhappy. I appeared to be okay in life. And that's a group of people that I think a lot of distributors and owners are missing out on. The people that we look at that we think are successful, the people that we look at that we think aren't interested. You know, my mission is this. My job is to share with you, ask you, let you know what I'm doing, and let you make the decision, yes or no.
Now let's
Well,
stay
look,
there. We've been on hundreds of webcasts doing trainings for the last several years. And there's a phrase that you always use. I'm here. There's a better way. What's the phrase that you use that you always say it? There's that there's a different way. There's a better way, like that. You know, and
There's
it
just
probably comes out of
there's
your mouth.
other options in life. Like we just don't have to go to school, get that corporate job, work that 40-hour week, do that for 40 years, retire, be old. Like there's another way that you can control your own destiny without having, like, our pre-conversation, guys, was so amazing, right? I'm not, distributors, you're not investing in creating the whole company. We get to just partner with an amazing company, with an amazing product line, with people that we just believe in, and we get to just cruise right along with them. Like the distributors in the field, we have it the easiest.
Well,
there's no
you think
question.
about it when I talked about the three different categories of this industry, right? Systems are ways of communicating with people, and the value we offer is always determined by the other person. So you can hear, like, if we were to really dissect where Michelle is at, right? She knows her mission, she knows her purpose, and even the thing that I have heard over and over and over again that sounds like there's a better way, there's another way, something like that. It just comes out of her mouth so naturally. So when and the same thing with Richard, that's what I got from the 50-minute conversation that we had, that he's so passionate about his mission and purpose to make a difference with company owners, that streamlines right to that brand new person. And that's when you start to realize that there's a craft that you master in this industry. Mm-hmm.
Look, I'd just like to point out something else, just tacking on to what you said, Michelle. You're saying that people walked past you not realizing that you were the perfect person to talk to. I recruited a surgeon into our business a couple of years ago. And who would have approached a surgeon? You think a surgeon, wow, this guy's got it made. He spent 25 or 30 years learning his craft. He's in the hospitals. He's earning a fortune. He's driving a Ferrari. It's all made. I said to him, why did you join? He said, a couple of years ago, I went on holiday and we went to Mauritius, which is just off the coast of South Africa here. And he said, while I was sitting on the beach, I was thinking, wow, it's costing me $1,500 an hour to sit on this beach because I'm not in the surgery. If I was in the surgery, I'd be earning $1,500 an hour. And he said that I couldn't enjoy my holiday because I sat on that beach realizing that every single hour that went past, another $1,500 was being leached out of my life. And I realized at that point that I was financially rich, but I was in terrible time poverty.
Wow.
And so he joined the business because what he wanted to do is create a residual income so that he could stop working these crazy hours and worrying about the $1,000 or $1,500 he was losing, and actually get into a business where he could leverage systems provided by the company and other people's time, because other people getting into his team, and generate himself a residual annuity income and live his best life. So it's important to note that you don't just have to approach people who you think are in need. Sometimes the best person you could ever recruit is that person who isn't in need, but who is in want, has a desire for a better life, has a desire for more time, wants to spend time with a family. And one of the companies I ran was called Acorn Kids. And our whole motto was full-time mommy, part-time business. And so when we went out to recruit, it was become a full-time mom with a part-time business. And it was all about getting back to the family. And it was amazing. We had lawyers and doctors and all sorts of people who had realized that life in the corporate world was not all that. You sold your time, you never get it back, and you live this very time-impoverished life.
Let's stay there for a minute. Interesting. When I look at what's happened since 2020, March of 2020 with the pandemic, I have never seen members and clients recruit the numbers of people that they've recruited. Some of them 150 to 250, and some of them that have multi-million-dollar businesses that were just not necessarily doing a lot of personal business. Why? They didn't need to. It wasn't a good use of their time, but they were able to leverage that with online events. And in this conversation, what's happened is they would give them an extraordinary experience through an event and offer what we call the easy yes system. Jump in, get your products at a discount, enjoy the discount. Every time you purchase something for a gift, you get 35% off, whatever. They would talk about the products and great write-offs, all the benefits. And these professionals would get in and then fall in love with the experience. So it's almost symbolic to somebody that's been in a terrible marriage and then they get divorced, and in their mind, they're like, I'm never going to date again. I'm going to be happy just being single. We don't go at them with like, oh my gosh, you're just the woman I've been looking for. I want to marry you, right? It doesn't happen that way. It's this way of being able to give them an experience like being invited to something that Michelle talked about. And then through that, giving them a reason just to be able to jump in. So what this whole process was about is, we call it the easy yes drip system method, that you give these people that are already successful doing other things an opportunity to experience you, jump in, get their products at a discount, and then through that process, help them see that there is another way.
And a
They're
better
all
way.
wanting more freedom, more joy.
Yeah.
Like, what is that $1,000 a minute or an hour worth without joy and passion, right?
And the thing is that the big thing is you squandering your time, and time is finite, and it is precious beyond words. So the other side of it is, of course, that there are people who absolutely need this opportunity. In South Africa, we've got 46% unemployment. I want you to just think about that for a moment. 46%, nearly half of our population, has got no chance of finding a job, zero. And so again, the other side of this coin is that there's a lot of people who are looking to make a big impact on it, but those kind of people can also get involved to help lift up communities who are struggling. And I mean, you're having the same problem in the States. A lot of people are finding themselves out of work. The pipelines, the Keystone pipeline gets closed. I mean, Elon Musk has got the self-driving cars coming along. It won't be long.
I was just thinking that artificial intelligence, right?
AI. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so displacement is on the horizon. So I think that the MLM industry is in a perfect place to help people. I mean, this universal basic income is a lot of nonsense, because where's the purpose? And in our space, I mean, it's exactly what you were saying, Michelle. There's so much purpose in the space that we're operating in. You gain so much purpose in your life. You're helping people. You're changing people's lives. You're coaching people. You're growing people. And it's a very outward-focused industry, this. It's not inward-focused, not me, myself, I. It's very much out there to the people around us. And so I think that there's real opportunity from that side. And I love your stories, because it's all about the fact that you get involved and you're connecting with all of these people out there and changing these people's lives. I think it's wonderful.
Let's talk about mindset, guys, because, it's interesting when you think about what happened to Michelle, the example, and even Richard's example with the surgeon. we could say it was by chance or happenstance, one-dimensional, but we live in a multi-dimensional universe. And when we start to think about what that means, multi-dimensional is realizing that we have favor and we have I'll say it, whether you call it a soul, Jesus, God, universe, higher self, inner guidance system, that's always a step before us or a step ahead of us. And so in all of that, we could say it was logic or it was happenstance. But when we're in a miracle mindset, we are in, or Romans 12:12, let your hope make you glad. And in all of that, what you start to notice is that contrast is your friend. So we could look at it like 46% of South Americans are out of employment. Oh my God,
South Africans,
what are they going?
Not South Americans, South Africans.
Excuse me, I knew that. South Africans, thank you.
You were just testing me, right?
I'm testing me, right? Thank you.
Just making sure I was concentrating.
You're on it, brother. You're on it. But contrast is a good thing. Contrast means unwanted and wanted conditions. And when we focus on unwanted conditions, we attract more unwanted conditions. And so what I know about Michelle's character is that she's always looking out of the box. And so we train our brain how to think. And the 3 steps are always desire. Desire is the mustard seed that creates vision. Vision is born from desire. And so desire is just noticing, what do I want? What else is out there? What might possibly support me with this? And then vision is born from desire. And then intentions are work. Intention is the worldly part of vision. I intend to, I'm going to attract, when you're walking around with affirmative, I like to say affirmative prayer, whether you call it just affirmative statements, good things are always happening to me. I'm excited about rendezvousing with new things in my life. I'm going to attract the ideal situations and people into my life. I want more freedom. I want more joy. I don't need to be confounded to this local community. There's a whole worldly opportunities that are right at my fingertips. And so when I look back at the 12 years that we've had the $1 Million Protege Leadership Program, and so many clients, leaders that have come to us that have been stuck, they always want to know the systems, but at first glance, they think the systems are going to shift everything. What is manifestation? It's where desire and belief match. So the desire is a little bit easier than the belief, and the belief is usually elevated by little wins. And when they can see, and this is what I love about what Michelle and Mandy, there are 2 social media experts that have substantially changed the lives of thousands of members in our program by having them look outside of the box and start to get in that elevated state of mindset. But they'll teach them the simplest strategies, and all of a sudden they're blowing up their social media platforms. I mean, when I look at in that community alone, they have 400 image posts that are already done. And these people that are green to it, that are coming into direct sales from a 9-to-5 job, that don't understand social media and they haven't been successful, and they're just taking the image that we've given them and posting that, let's say, on their personal Facebook platform, and all of a sudden engagement, and then they start to believe it. And then they go down this curriculum. Michelle, talk a little bit about that, or more about that. Like Mandy and Michelle and I talk every Wednesday at noon, and almost half the conversation is always about all the success that they see with these people that have started with disbelief that they can actually make their direct sales business work.
So before Michelle, before you step in there, I just want to just touch on this, because you guys are specialists in you mindset coaches. I mean, and what you were touching on there is critically important, because if the person has got the wrong mindset, the chances of succeeding are zero. And
Bingo.
so by adjusting a person's mindset, you take them from a very low possibility of success to a very, very high probability, not possibility, to a
Beautiful.
probability of success. And so that is why having somebody involved with your business that can actually change the mindset of your network is so critically important, because it is actually the foundation of the success of the business, is everybody's mindset. And you can see it. You go into a company where, as you said, somebody's changed the compensation plan, and then you go and talk to the people and you see what their mindset is after the compensation plan gets changed, and you can predict to almost to the day how fast that company is going to slide into oblivion.
Mm.
And so, I think that the point that you were making in terms of mindset and that cannot be overstated, the importance of that.
What a beautiful recap.
Absolutely. Steve, listening to you just go down that journey, when I was in my mid 30s and knowing what I was doing wasn't working, like that's not a quality of life. And Richard, you saying the same thing, like financially, I was great, but time wise, I was poor. I was so poor. And I just knew there had to be something else, but I didn't know what it was. So that's probably the difference when I was invited to something. I'm like, well, maybe this is something, maybe this is something. I hadn't accepted, that was going to be life. And I run across so many people like that when we just share an opportunity with them, that they're in the same mindset. There are so many people right now that are waiting for an opportunity. Then there's another group of people that with a little nudge, a little push, they'll be there too. They didn't grow up with that. Like no one, they just don't even know that. And it's so beautiful when you share with them, we take this step and we do this. And Steve, you said little wins. Little wins are way bigger than the massive wins, right? The little
Goosebumps.
along the way, the brand new person has that little win, their first sale, their first recognition from companies, as our company owners and CEOs are listening, recognition can be free. Like all companies should recognize more, on a weekly basis. That new person, just seeing their name in a Facebook group or seeing their name or picture come out in an email, like means so much to a person that's never, ever been recognized before. And I didn't even realize, because I was never recognized and, until this industry, I didn't even realize I liked it. Right, until it happened, and I'm like, well, this is super fun, just to someone say, pat you on the back and say, great job. So the little recognition is such an opportunity for companies to focus more on. I think a lot of companies do great with the big recognition, but those are probably the people that are going to get there anyway. We want to focus on the people in the beginning of their journey more.
Yeah, when in doubt, ask a puppy you're trying to potty train, right?
Yes,
exactly.
Well, look, it's that simple, right?
The other thing is that companies should realize that a large percentage of the recognition can be very easily automated. I'll give you an example. In our software, what we do is if somebody makes their first sale, our system SMSs or messages 2 or 3 people up the line. So it'll say, hey, John,
wow,
Mary just made her first sale. Won't you give her a call and tell her well done? Then it'll tell Peter up line from Mary, hey, listen, Peter, John's new guy just made their first sale. Why don't you give John a call and tell him well done? Why don't you give Mary a call and tell her incredible? And it'll tell Andre up the line, and he phones Peter and John and Mary. And so by automating a small 3-level up SMS, it goes 3 levels up, and then suddenly Mary, who's just made her first sale, is getting bombarded with congratulations and well done and getting heavily recognized for something that she's done. Now, that kind of automation is easy to do. It just needs to be implemented. And for the life of me, I don't understand why companies don't do it more. We do it as part of our software. It automatically is built in when somebody takes the software, it does all of that. But it seems to me that everybody should be doing it. As you said, recognition is absolutely key to success.
Well, Richard, I've been places with people, right, like a new team member in a group setting, and all of a sudden they look down and it's like, this person just texts me, and the top leader, like, it's so beautiful to
Powerful.
witness it happen. Like, and it also cements that person in the business. Like,
Absolutely.
when that next person maybe talks negative about the industry, or we know people make fun of somebody, they like are bulletproof. They are cemented into the business because they're surrounded by a group now.
Well,
And
let's
you
say,
talked
like,
about
talking about how it,
mindset is, sorry. Yeah.
well, I was just going to say it, like how it plays out. Like, Bob comes home from work and Sarah's all happy. And he's like, what's going on, honey? Why are you so happy? You haven't been in a good space for a week. And she's like, I just got the most amazing call from my manager, Julie.
Absolutely. You
And he
see,
goes, what happened? Well, I had my first online event and it was pretty successful and I made $195 and it just permeates good. And I think that a lot of influential people or successful people forget what it's like to not feel good. And what are we about, right? We're about making impact and paying it forward. It's esoteric and it makes a huge difference. I love this conversation.
absolutely. So, I mean, I'm when I was writing to you guys originally, I mentioned to you one of the big things I like talking about is recognition, and it's because I think it's such a powerful mindset tool. You talked about getting people's mindset right. You recognize them for what they're doing, and it changes how they feel. It changes how they view the business, and it changes their mindset.
Yeah. In Tony Robbins' book, Unshakable, he talks about the state and that what people are really deep down wanting is the state. They see other people in the state, and whether it's the state that they have this incredible marriage, or they're in this incredible health or positivity, or in our industry, they see them being recognized and they see them as heroes, right? Influential people, award winners, or they go to a convention and they see them on stage. And what they're really wanting is the state. And what prevents them from being in the state is the story they tell themselves. And that story, that reoccurring thought that continues to play this monogram over and over and over again is not true, but they make it true. I'm thinking of Brian Katie. Loving what is. Is it true? Is it absolutely true? What's this thought costing me? Who and where would I be without this thought? But what shifts that is the strategy. It's a different approach. So what we have found in teaching simple practices that support people in getting instant outcome is that once those wins start to happen, they start to build momentum and a compound effect. And then that person's off the stands in the court, playing full out. And, when I think of the free gift that we're offering all of you, it's this video called Your Social Media Income Explosion Blueprint. And Mandy Mitchell and Michelle Jones, our interview with Michelle today, go into this entire program on how to earn money online. And a reminder to everybody, it's probably in the show notes. It's your social media blueprint.com, your social media blueprint.com. So
yeah,
I'm
going to link to all of this stuff in our YouTube and on the podcast. It'll be all linked to it. I'll put the links up.
But we're a philanthropic movement, and what Michelle and Mandy have created in our membership program for $19.97 a month, they end up with all of this content and coaching and all sorts of support every day, interacting with people in our online community. And it kind of happened through happenstance. During COVID, we saw all of our clients, especially the clients that had a lot of live business, having a difficult time getting the organization to pivot. And they said, well, we want to offer a 90-day, actually ended up being 5 months because we continued it on. They created an online business or online program community for 3 months that extended to 5 months. And then after, we were ending it in August 31st, and everybody's like, well, how can we continue this? And they were really challenged with it because it spent a lot of time. It was completely complimentary. And I just said, well, what if we just created a membership program, a paid membership program that was very reasonable? And I think everybody hearing this, whether you're a business owner or want to be a business owner of a network marketing and direct sales business, or you're a leader, there's just something that happens when you come from, I don't use this word very often, but purity. That's what I noticed about Richard. That's what I noticed about you, my friend, right in the beginning of this conversation. I had a sense of that in the dialogue through email, but once we jumped on, I could just see that your essence is pure. And there's good fortune that comes from that.
Okay, you get another week.
We're flying in, brother. We are flying in.
Let's fly in, Steve. I would love to fly in.
So what I want to just do, pivot to another sort of topic, and specifically for you, Michelle, what is the greatest decision a person can make in their MLM career to really build their business and to take it to the next level? What would you say that is for you?
This is one of my favorite questions, and the answer is going to sound so simple, but I'm going to dive deeper in. Is the number one decision a person has to make is to quit being random, to quit just doing things whenever. And that starts off, with a new distributor. At first, there's no schedule, there's no plan. They just try to fit it in whenever. It's random. It doesn't work. It becomes overwhelming. And then as a person grows into a leader, they're doing the same thing. They've been random. They've had some success. They have a bit of a team. And now they're teaching a group of people to be random. So the number one decision people can make is to have a strategy, to have a plan. And let's even talk, with companies. With the companies, it has to be, I'm new, 1, 2, 3, go. Like, I'm a brand new person. What is it that I can be doing daily in little 15, 30-minute chunks of time? There are those handful of people that are going to jump all in, but that's such a small percent. The bigger percent, the bigger volume, you're building your lifelongers, you're building your tribe, you're building your thousands of people that are going to love and, adore and worship the company are going to be the people that are part-time. We need to speak the language. There's still a schedule. There's still a schedule where you do this thing on this day and this thing on this day. It can be very small chunks of time, but it just can't be when it fits in, because it never fits in. You, Richard, talked about the company earlier, and you said, mommy and family first. That is my core belief. In this journey now of being in our industry for the last 2 decades, the last 5 years, I've adopted 3 little kids. So I went from having unlimited time, doing whatever I wanted, whenever, having massive success, and then adopting these 3 little kids. They're now 4, 5, and 6. I'm like, okay, we've even got to tighten this up more. How can that busy, crazy person, or the doctor you talked about, or the full-time moms, the full-time college students, how can they jump in, start having success? Because every company has a 1, 2, 3, go system. For what Steve and I have done, we've really done that on social media. Like, we have the answer for people with 0 experience on social media, 0 success, that they can come in, even if they've really just even opened their first, Facebook or Instagram account, they can come in and follow our simple systems and start to have success. We work with leaders, we work with company owners, and I think a downfall that leaders or owners do is try to teach social media. Like, there's so many other things to teach. You need to teach, recruiting and selling and getting people to events and mastering how to invite people, how to, leadership. That's what companies are doing. That's what leaders are doing. Where Steve and I come in is we're the people that teach people how to go on social media and simplify it. Because seriously, a company has a different vision of what they want their company on social media than an individual is going to be doing on social media. So really, that's the greatest decision anyone can make. Quit being random. Quit flying by the seat of your pants. Partner with your company. Follow their simple system. If a new company is trying to figure that out, work with Richard, work with us. Let's figure out what is your 1, 2, 3 go that you have that your new distributors can just take off in short amount of chunks of time.
So let me just get this straight. A company comes to you guys And you are going to, what are
We
you
are
going to do?
going
Let me
to
hear.
help them simplify social media. We are going to partner with them. We work with lots of companies where we partner with them, and we're so open. It could be 4 weeks, it could be 12 weeks, where there's weekly trainings. We're going to take them through, this is what we need to do first, and how do we do our personal profile, and how do we properly invite, and how do we create an online community, not a VIP customer group. How do we create an online community? How do we do events online? How do we teach our distributors to even get people to show up to events? But then what do you do after the event? How do you follow up? How do you move the people that are public profile on social media into your private community? So it's just layer upon layer upon layer, and they get through it, and they're making money, they're having fun, people are having success. It's just beautiful.
Who's that
And the question,
60 or 76 or I think she's close to 80 that's in the community that oh, you guys have talked about before, that's just rocking social media. Now it's been about a year for her, but I remember when I heard that story, I thought, wow, look what you two have been able to do. She had no support from her upline. Upline was in her 20s.
Well,
She's in
yeah, her
her
upline was in her 20s, and she's almost 80. The upline in her 20s doesn't even understand how it's different, like on social media, depending on
Mm-mm.
your age, your love, your interest, your beliefs. There's so many different avenues that you can go down for creating your personal profile on social media.
and can I ask you, how has social media changed the sort of the landscape for multi-level marketing? I mean,
Well,
I
let's
noticed
talk
in,
about like it really shifted in March of 2020. I mean, here I've been a, coach for 20 years. I've had thousands of members and clients, and I will never forget what happened. All of a sudden, my phone is blowing up from people, leaders that I've coached or were in my program that I hadn't talked to for years. And, gyms closed. All of a sudden, I found myself having these 12 and 14-hour days. And I remember going to my coach and just saying, gosh, what do I do? Like they're friends and people I want to help. And I don't feel even right charging them for a coaching call. Like, I mean, it's just like all these things are changing in their world. And they had a difficult time processing how to pivot. And I remember watching them become like the entertainment for their following online. What happened is network marketers, direct sellers started to reach out to people to say, how are you? How are you doing? Are you home with your kids? It was personal. They took the business away, not intentionally, from retailers and from online businesses. And what does that mean? Online businesses are constantly marketing. They're not sending content. They're not reaching out to see how the customers are doing. Who does that? I never even get a call from a doctor or a naturopath or a massage therapist after my appointment. They were taught and they've learned how to reach out and care about people. And all of a sudden, these online events, even for network marketers, I think of that aren't used to doing like online parties, Michelle and Mandy have been able to show them how to create valuable content based on their product. Even the services that did make sense to invite them to an online party, but an online event that had value and that was fun and a little bit mysterious, meaning in giveaways, right? And all of a sudden, they're just converting right and left. And so everything started to change in 2020. And now we know that we can build successful businesses by giving people extraordinary experiences. But it's all about relationship building, right? It's not about selling, like why these online businesses didn't even do good during COVID, because they didn't know their people. They didn't know how to reach out to them. It was constantly about email and text and specials and discounts. And so I always like to say that, yeah, Michelle, you want to piggyback on that?
No, that's great, Steve. You're doing great, and so many thoughts are going through my mind. And I know that some people are listening right now that are still doing something that just absolutely doesn't work anymore. The
Mhm.
cut, copy, paste spam
Mm.
that I still hear some leaders teach, or I hear some companies teach, go for 100 no's, or cut, copy, paste, and send it to 100 people. Richard, when we were talking before, and you were saying one of your goals in life, like to be remembered for, is to just keep making our industry great and amazing. That's where I am too. Like, I want to help the people that are doing it wrong and show them the right way. It's very frustrating for me when I'm working with a client, or a lead, or a whole team, or a company, and I hear them teaching this, because they're setting up that new person to fail. Like, there's zero success in that. So what I've seen happen over the last 2 years is exactly what Steve said. There's no more cut, copy, paste. Nobody ever liked that. Before COVID 2 years ago, when a small group of people were doing that, maybe you'd get a hit once in a while. But someone's better, a new person, or if you're starting your business or restarting, right? That's where people are. We're starting, or we're always restarting. You're much better with a personal reach out to 20 people than spamming 100 people. Like, if we would just make it in the industry so no one ever spammed again, because that small group of people doing it that way, it's tarnishing all of us. Like, my belief is everyone loves their company. Everyone loves their company, and they want to just share that with other people. We just want an opportunity for people to listen. And Steve, you really nailed something, because sometimes more network marketing or MLM companies will say, well, we don't do parties. You do events. It's the same. It's an event, it's a party, it's a get together. It doesn't matter what it is. All of those things can be done on social media platforms successfully. It's not like the olden days of just sitting in a living room doing a party. 15 little minute events, 30-minute events, so much success for the people and the companies that are doing it right today.
I want
Look, I mean, sorry.
I want to just share with you,
Steve.
Richard, that, like, I know those of you that are listening, and you own a company, you are pursuing the direct sales industry to start a network marketing or direct sales division, right? I remember being at Russell Brunson's mastermind group. Russell Brunson, in my world, and I believe this, is the greatest online marketer in the world. Expert Secrets, the owner of ClickFunnels. In fact, if you're a company owner, even a direct sales leader, it would behoove you to order his complimentary book. And you're going to see it's a funnel. It's brilliant. Expertsecrets.com. You get the book for shipping and handling. Why would you buy it on Amazon for $20? But what he's going to do is build a relationship with you online. And you're going to see his video, and you're going to see firsthand why he's the greatest online marketer in the world. But what makes him special is that he is a purist, like what I called Richard. And so he would say to you that the thing that you're passionate about, that is your calling, that you're here to do. Millions of people are Googling it every day. Why can't it be you? And the why can't it be you needs to be crafted, and a strategy. Well, here I'm in his mastermind group, and I'm spent $50,000, and I'm saying, I know that I need to learn social media relative to my niche. And I'm standing up, he's asking me questions, and he goes, Steve, why do you need to learn it? Your clients get it, right? You work with them. You didn't, you started in 2003. Like, AOL was just coming out. He's like, go find a client that has a passion to make a difference, or a few of them. And he said, they're going to be better than anyone that could teach it, because they're doing it. And I said, well, isn't it kind of a conflict of interest? He said, of course not. You just keep it separate. But this is what they do. It becomes a benefit because they've got their own business. It sounds like you got these clients that have these multi-million-dollar businesses. Why would you want to reinvent the wheel, and why would you do it yourself? That's not a good use of your time. You're about leadership. You got your leadership podcast. You've built these helped clients build these teams. And so I just started having conversations with clients almost about, like, where are you headed in your life? What are you passionate about? And both Michelle and Mandy said, I love what I do. but I feel like I have a greater purpose and I want more of a global reach. I really want to make a difference. And at first they were looking at other things. And then I just kept the dialogue going. And then all of a sudden, here we had it. It was just this beautiful thing that unfolded. And they have been by far the greatest two coaches that I've ever had the opportunity to work with.
Isn't it amazing? Once you find the passion of where you're going, people are drawn towards that passion as if it's like magic. It just sort of, the people come to you out of thin air, and you think
it's Mary Poppins, my favorite character.
Absolutely. So I mean, isn't it? I mean, that is actually a fact. When you start focusing on that, suddenly these people just are drawn to you, and that you find them in your space. I mean, that is absolutely incredible. So nice story, that, I must say.
Poetic.
Yeah. So Michelle, you kind of have made what Steve called a quantum leap in this whole online marketing story. I mean, and that's certainly excited. I mean, a quantum leap is like fairly substantial, if you ask me. But can you just tell me about this quantum leap?
Absolutely. And, I'm thankful for my journey that I, built like Steve 2 decades ago, when you were in hotel rooms, right? When you were in living rooms, that I had that experience. And thankfully, part of my journey was figuring out social media before COVID happened. And then COVID happened. And as Steve said, so many leaders and clients were just scared. What is going to happen? What is everyone supposed to do? And everything obviously was lined up that we had answers before. We were figuring it out before, because obviously social media was not going away. And
we had courses.
We spent 2 years working with so many leaders in different companies, and just have really mastered how to do this, how you take that average new member and you start to help them be successful online in their part-time chunks of time. It's not, taking over their life. And one of the ways of doing this, we really have 5 different categories that they need to, keep following us after this podcast to learn more. But one of the ways of doing it is for them creating an online community. Now, depending, how long people have been in this industry, a lot of times people call that a VIP group or a customer group, where it's really an online community. So one of you said that, we start to be surrounded by people that like what we like, or love what we love. And that's really the essence of it, is you're starting a private group. You're inviting first friends and family, and then some of your customers, and then you're learning to target and get people in there. So if, you're in that phase of life where it's more mommy things, it might be more focused to that. Or you're in that phase of
Avatar.
life, maybe you're retired, or you're a college student. It's called your customer avatar. Thank you, Steve. And we actually, have a workbook that people can go through to help figure this out. Because a lot of times when you say, who's your customer, a person will say, everyone. Well, of course that's true. Everyone could buy, but we still have to narrow it down, because who are we focusing on? Who are we marketing on? So when they create this online community, and then they're showing up in their daily, and they're given value. If someone has a health and nutrition company, they're given value about drinking water or exercising, and then they're putting in a post about their company, about a shake or vitamins or nutrition. Or someone has they're with a skincare company, and they have this online community, this private community, and they're posting about life and everything they're doing, but then they're putting in there the #1 way to get rid of wrinkles. So it's an online community that people will be checking into daily. And we have hundreds and hundreds of proven posts over the last couple of years. So our members don't even have to create the content. Because when you start talking to someone about social media, then they're like, oh my gosh, now I have to create. And people freeze. We're like, we have content. So they're putting in their online community about life and what they love and what they're doing and their passions, but then they're dropping in about the business. What happens is they're actually selling more, because so many people in the past took an online community and they called it a customer group. People only would show up in that group when they wanted to buy. And most people buy a couple times a year. Well, with the social media algorithms now, if you don't check into something in the last 30 days, you don't even get notifications. So they're creating like a tribe of people that they're just sharing life with. And, people start off with 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, and it's just growing and growing. And then friends are inviting friends. And then it's just a beautiful place to then market into. But the people don't even feel they're being marketed to. They feel like they're going on a journey of life with you, and they almost feel like you're giving them a gift when you're like, oh, there's this new product, or there's this sale, or maybe it's time to join. That's really the biggest difference we've made for people, is everyone can have an online community. It's just not your top leaders. It's not the people that have hundreds of customers. Let's start, let's grow it. You will always have a spot to share who you are, what you're doing, what you're passionate about, what you're using, how you're growing, asking for feedback. It's such a beautiful thing. It's really become one of my most favorite things that we help others with.
And you go
And
into
people want to
detail
belong,
in
don't
that
they?
video, in the free gift. They go into a lot of detail, both Mandy and Michelle.
Yeah, in the free gift, we go into a little bit more detail, and you said it right there, Richard. You guys were both talking. They want to belong, and simple things like fun games and contests and winners, and social media platforms make it so easy because people can get badges. You're the top contributors. You're asking the most questions. So the platform is helping you have a great online community, because we know every platform's number one goal is to keep people on the platform. So many things that the social media platforms are doing to help us too.
Could you highlight the other four?
The other four, absolutely. Okay, so there's really there's 5 key focuses, and this might be a question coming up, but I'm just going to drop it right now. There's 5 key focuses for someone when they want to build online. And really the first one is just kind of understanding social media and the power of someone's personal profile. So many people are like, I don't really have anything to offer, or I'm kind of boring. Like a quick little training call, like 10 minutes, you can pull out what makes them amazing and magnificent. Everyone has great things about it, but so many people don't believe that. I didn't believe that years ago. I'm like, why would anyone, want to follow or listen to me? So number one is to just understand social media and the power of their personal profile. Number 2 is to show them proven posts that are going to cause engagement, comments, interaction. We have hundreds and hundreds of posts now. We've been, doing this for almost 2 years. We go deep into training about having well-attended online events. First, we'll help them structure and create their simple online event. The beauty of this is a new person should see an online event today and be able to do it tomorrow. Like, that's pure duplication. That's how a company grows. That's how a company explodes. As a new person sees it today, they do one tomorrow. So we're going to help them create the online events. We're going to help them get guests that show up to the online events. We're going to help them what happens after the online event. How do you transition those people into customers, into team members, into people that want to host events? And then you move that whole group into your online community. So it just makes a big, beautiful circle. The next one is just really, and we touched on this, is building real relationships on social media. I mean, we all know that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. We all know that just posting pictures or sales does nothing on social media. So we're going to teach them how to just build real relationships on social media. And it's so simple. I'm just so excited for everyone listening. And then the last thing is what we already touched a little bit on, is creating a successful online community, not a customer group. Those words are gone in the past. It's an online community of like-minded people that are going on a journey of life with you. So those are the 5 key focuses.
And people don't want to be customers. They want to be part of your group. They want to be part of your world. They don't just want to be your customer. I mean, if all they are your customer, that's a pretty meaningless space to be in. So I think you guys are taking them so far past just being a customer. You're taking them into, hey, you're part of my life. You're part of the group that I'm putting together.
Exactly.
You're part of my social experience. And so the fact that you happen to be a customer as well is great, but that is actually not the purpose here. The purpose is to belong to something amazing and something bigger than you. And, being part of something excellent.
Absolutely. Wow.
So can I just touch on this complimentary gift of yours?
Yes.
So I come along and I register with you guys and I get this complimentary gift. And so I get, what is it, 5 weeks, did you say?
Well, the gift is this. So when people go to yoursocialmediablueprint.com, it is a training specifically on these 5 categories that I just shared, where we jump into each of those categories. We go about 5 levels deep, that they're really going to walk away with some quick changes, or just some things that they're like, I never thought of that. Nobody showed me that can make a big difference really just quick. So these 5 categories, we go about 5 levels deep on each of those categories. And then obviously, at the end of that, they're going to fall in love and they're going to want more, and they can get inside the community then.
And so then they subscribe, and you said it was about $20, eh?
No,
Yeah.
it's completely complimentary.
No, but when you subscribe, then so once we've done this the free prize, that's fantastic. I can get real value out of that. That is something that's amazing.
Real value,
It
yeah.
can change my business. It certainly can give me a real leg up. And if that's all I want to do, well, I'm going to be pushing my business forward.
Yes.
But then
I looked at it like,
obviously,
the beautiful part is they could jump in for $19.97, try it out for a month, end up getting 4 group coaching sessions, have amazing content for that month, also interaction with Mandy and Michelle, access to 400 instant access images to blow up their personal social media platforms and their community, and try it out. So that's the beautiful part of it.
now is this open? Sorry, is this open for an individual, or is it only open for company owners?
No, it's an individual, but you and I are on the same page that we've had several companies that have and owners and top leaders that have just watched the training, that complimentary training, and sent out a challenge to their downline or their field saying, you have a 72-hour challenge to register for this complimentary video, watch it, and post in their online community, which for a leader might be their team page, Facebook community, right, group. And then they'll give away gifts for them posting their greatest takeaway. So it guides them. And then a lot of companies are interested in just offering the membership program without us even coming in and doing training. They just want their members to take the initiative for a couple, $20 a month to get into the social media. It's called Social Media Lifeline Community. Yeah, they've done a phenomenal job.
Okay, so I mean, I think that is amazing. So as a company, we could get in and we could utilize this by providing our top leadership with membership. Company pays for it, company sponsored, get the leadership to do it. Or we could do a push where we could either subsidize it or get the people to pay for it themselves to be in. In other words, really share with them how important this is and what a massive difference it could make to their business, and the people could get in on their own bat, and then obviously push it down the network. So those are basically the 2 opportunities here for a company owner to say, hey, listen, I don't have to go and create all of this stuff. In order to create that stuff, the amount of work that's involved is just mind-boggling. How long has it taken you guys to put this together? I mean, it must be years and years and years of work. I mean, apart from learning how to do it in the first place.
It's been steady. Yeah, we remember earlier I said we've done almost 1,000 complimentary webcasts. And what we normally do for a direct sales leader, like an executive or a company, we will actually do a customized webcast for them called Social Media Income Explosion Blueprint. And then we interview a couple of their leaders. We get clear about their struggles and what they want their teams to learn. And then we customize that training and we do a complimentary webcast because we want them to get value and also for them to see what we're capable of doing to support them. And so we do exactly what we've learned from Russell Brunson.
Well,
and you actually,
We're speaking their language. If, we've worked with the owners or the leaders in
Ah,
their
yeah,
language,
that's
and we're hearing their struggles of, what they just can't get accomplished. We're hearing their struggles so we can focus more on those things.
And do you do that remotely via Zoom, or do you actually fly in and sit with a client wherever they are in the world and sort of do a workshop with them to?
Yeah, we do all of the above. Obviously,
Yeah.
like this is quicker, but yeah, we do all options.
Yeah,
And
but of
Michelle
course,
is
coming.
pretty incredible on stage. She's gets a little quick with her PowerPoint, but she's a should I say it? She's a spaz. She's fun. She's playful. She'll sit on the end of the stage, get everybody revved up, walk into the audience, call people up, ask questions. She's a phenomenal keynote speaker.
Well, that is also because that was something I was going to just move on to next, is that we do get from time to time, quite often actually, companies coming to us and saying, look, we're having our national convention, we're having our end of year gala evening, we're having whatever, and we need some really powerful people who we can put in front of our group and get them to talk. That is obviously something you guys do as well.
Absolutely. Yep, we do.
They're on the social media end. I'm on the leadership end. So what I usually do, I have a training that I do for a lot of companies called Leaders That Build Thriving Teams. And it's a good start. So we give back initially so they can have a taste of what we're about and they get feedback from the field.
So can I make a suggestion that and you can tell me whether that needs to be taken out of this the podcast if you want to.
No,
But 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 if we went to, I mean, we've got a bunch of clients, okay, and we went to our clients and we said to them, listen, guys, why don't you do the following? Get your top 50 people to actually attend these courses, to go through the process, to pay the $20 a month, and to run through this whole thing, to implement what they're learning, and then see how it works. And when it does work, which it's going to, you can then throw your entire weight behind it and get your entire team involved in it. Get the guys across, create a custom course for your specific team, for your group, for your product range, create custom posts and get this thing all up and running. I mean, would that be a good approach?
Absolutely.
You're brilliant. When you think of leaders that have more life, more meaning, more fulfillment, they're not always the creators or the presenters.
Of course not.
They're the promoters. The brilliant ones are the promoters. And when I work with new leaders that don't have a lot of support and they're confused, I say, can you tell me about your onboarding program? What's your company offer? What trainings are available constantly? Are you aware of that? Are you promoting that to your 10 team members or your 30 team members via text? Do you have a Facebook community where you support them? Do you have an instant access opportunity video? What is that? There's got to be several that have been done by your upline or a sideline or the company that were like, find your best three and think about the different kinds of people that you would invite them to. And if you're inviting a stay-at-home mom or you're inviting a career person, then what video would be ideal to them? Do you have a really engaging email that you copy and paste and then write 2 or 3 sentences acknowledging the person? Do you have a leadership program for new leaders that engage them? Like, the promoters save so much time. And I think a lot of people in our industry just reinvent the wheel. And so we have several clients that just won't even, they'll have an initial conversation with a downline member about their challenges with social media. And they'll say, I want you to shadow me, but if you really want to learn the ins and outs, jump into the social media Lifeline community. It's $19.97 a month. You can't lose. Like, I'm in it. I've learned a lot. And I will coach you around what you learn as long as you're active in the group. So that person's leveraging their time.
And for the company, what's great about that is for the company owners, if they just promote this to their leaders and their leaders get value, their leaders will promote it to the downline, because the leaders know that if they can get their people really functioning on social media, then their business is going to explode. You talk about a quantum leap here. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to absolutely blow your entire network into sort of high gear, so to say, really explode it and get it growing. And you know, my experience is people who know better do better, and this is part of that process. You know, teach them what
Well,
they
it's
need
the
to do.
same
People are
thing
not.
that you do for companies. You know, it's like, I can't believe the $100,000 accounts that I've had, you know, going back in the day before I started to blow up our protege program. And Richard, like, it's, you have all the moving pieces, and the promoter, or better said, the person that leverages success. My mom taught me early on in life. My mom was a private banker that retired at 74 with like a $6.5 billion portfolio that was beyond all the other private bankers put together. But early on, she said, success isn't on sale, Steve. Remember when I was just complaining about some expenses and complaining about, I was young, you know, I was 19, 20. And she said, success isn't on sale. And I've had a coach, like an executive coach, every year for the last 27 years. And I don't want to figure it out. Like, what I know is, why would I want to figure it out when I can hire somebody to figure it out? And that's what I have gleaned from our conversation, is that, Richard, you so have all these processes all figured out. And it just takes the guessing and losing money and losing people by not having the blueprint, the foundation, all in place.
Well, the secret here, and again, in my opinion, business is about people. It's not about business.
Right.
And if you can surround yourself with the correct people, you can achieve anything. You can absolutely achieve anything. And it's again why I've started this MLM for CEOs and this whole podcast and the YouTube channel, is that if I can get people like yourself who have got the answers to serious problems that are being faced by companies who are running in this MLM space, if I can connect you together and I can provide this company with this solution, I mean, I've changed the trajectory of their business completely. And so for me, that's what is so exciting about this, is that, you know, it's about people. It's about people like yourself. It's about people who know things. And I just want to, I mean, we're coming into land here, but I just want to say specifically to the company owners, and we have a lot of conversations like this, the average MLMer, the average person, the network marketer, the connector, the IBO, whatever you want to call them, these people are not lazy. They get up every morning, they work their guts out for some boss who doesn't appreciate them, doing a job that they don't love, to put food on the table and a roof over their heads, and to provide their families with a decent living. They are not lazy. They know what they need to do, and they've got the discipline to get up every day and do it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we have so many people failing in the MLM space is not because our IBOs and our connectors and our people are lazy. The reason that so many people fail is because they don't know what to do. They don't know what the next step is. Michelle?
That's it. That's 100% it. Like, I always say, like, I'm field side, working with people in the trenches, working with leaders, and then I also have the privilege of being with owners in boardrooms, and I hear things like that. Well, they don't care. They're not trying. They don't know what to do. Give them 1, 2, 3, go. Give them a system and teach it and preach it and write it. I 100% agree with you, Richard, that if people knew what to do, if everyone's doing the same thing, it just, it grows and it changes and helps so many families. I love that you just said that.
Well, they need to know what they need to do. So what do I need to do? The second thing is they need to believe that they can do it. So you talk about 1, 2, 3, go, and that speaks to me about the simplicity of the task that they need to do. So I need to know what I need to do. then I need to believe that I'm quite capable of doing it. And then the only thing that is up to me is to go and do this simple thing that I know now know how to do. And I think that's kind of, for me, what I've got out of our meeting here today is that is what you're providing specifically in the social media space, but probably in a lot of other areas as well.
Yes, and then we just add on top of that, if they know what to do, they believe they can do it, they go do it, and then the company recognizes those small wins.
Well, guys,
what a phenomenal conversation. Yeah,
It's been amazing. I've had such a great time.
yeah, and I don't know how long have we been going here. My guys are normally giving me the clock.
Yeah, I literally don't even know what time. I think at least over an hour and 15 minutes.
So
I just wanted to say, Richard, before we recorded, he said, let's have fun. And when I was listening to Michelle and Richard in this dialogue at the very end, and Richard was talking about leverage and working with people of like-mindedness. It's a spiritual principle, and it's when people come together with a passion and purpose and mission to make an impact in the world, and all have a part of the equation, the ingredients to the recipe. That's when that magic happens, and it's relationships. We're all here on this planet to learn and to give. And what happens when you are surrounded, like I think of my team with Lifeline, all of them have been with me since the beginning. I didn't have to even put an ad, they just showed up. And that's the beautiful part of it. They're all so committed to our mission and impact. And that's what I really admire about you, brother. Like you so understand this industry, but you understand spiritual practices, and you have such a love and conviction about helping people do this industry and create a lifestyle that they love. I really acknowledge you for that.
Wow.
And that's my final.
Well, thank you very much. Well, look, just as a final note from my side, and I'm speaking directly to the company owners out there, and guys, you need to focus heavily on what you get rather than what you give. For $20 a month, if you think of how much this could change your business, how much this could change your network, how much benefit you could get out of this. I mean, it could be absolutely priceless in your business, and so I recommend highly that you guys get out there. I mean, start on the free course if you want to, and then get subscribed. It's really important that the people who are creating this amazing content get paid for the content they're creating, because if people are not getting paid, you and I both know that they're not going to carry on doing it. They can't do it. How do you sustain your lifestyle, whatever, if you're not getting paid? And so honor these people for the incredible work they've been doing and are doing by getting your guys to subscribe to this, and then sit back and watch how it changes your business, because I think that's what this is all about. You can bring your business so radically into the modern era by getting your guys onto these courses. Steve, Michelle, I cannot thank you enough for spending this time with me. It's been an absolute revelation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to get this up onto our Facebook account and onto our YouTube channel. So this is going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on Libsyn. It's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on our Instagram channel. So it's going to be all over the place. We've got several different channels that we operate off of.
Gosh, it's been such an honor. What a gift from the heavens to have met you, Richard.
And from my side as well, guys, as I say, I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. I could talk to you for another 3 hours.
Me too.
Ditto. You're an amazing human being.